YouTube, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. Today, guys, we are tackling newer cards in the OCG. Now, enough about Master Duel because Master Duel is getting boring until we get newer cards. I know the new leaks are kind of okay, but we'll tackle them in another day. So far, what I'm working on today is K9, the newer deck in the OCG. This deck has a little bit of a feel to Vanquish Soul slash Exo Sisters. The deck works so well with just level 5 going into rank 5s. And if your opponent uses a hand trap or a monster effect on hand or graveyard, it triggers most of the effect for this archetype. So let's talk about the card by card, and I'll showcase to you guys some of the replays that I did with this deck in YugiOh Pro. And yes, we are going back into YugiOh Pro, which is Project Ignis nowadays. But anyways, so Lupus and Izuna works too well if it's your opponent's turn. They activate as a quick effect. You can spell summon them to the field, especially if you have Lupus on hand or in the graveyard. You can summon this to the field and then use the 2 bodies or level 5 bodies on the field to go into your K9 XZ monster, which is kind of neat. We'll talk about them in a bit. The rest, Joe Call and a copy of Lantern. Lantern spell summons a level 5 or K9 level 5 body from the graveyard to your side of the field alongside this card. Joe Call spell summons 1 level 5 body on your hand and this card to the field. That's an easy level 5 as well to your rank 5. And then for the non-K9 monsters, we are running with 1 overlay. There are some other level 5 bodies that you can summon to the field, like the Trickstars. There's 1 more with the Synchron, but I just preferred 1 of this because I don't want to brick on multiple copies of them. So just 1 is pretty much alright. Next up, we have a copy of the Disabler, the Negation Fortress. We have this in Master Duel, by the way, and this is a UR, so it is kind of sad that this is a UR. Regardless, it's an extra body of a level 5. Now for our non-engines, Ash Blossoms, Maxi, and Veiler, of course. We're supposed to be running 3 copies of Tachyon here, but since this is the OCG, there's only like 2 copies of this. Luckily, we have experienced 7th Tachyon in Master Duel, and this is 1 broken card, to be honest. It can't search anything at this point on. 2 copies of Triple Tactics, 3 copies of Chaotic Elements. We also don't have this in Master Duel, but this is a pretty good card to search out 1 level 5 or higher Light or Dark Pyro or Aqua Monster. So these, which one's it? The Joe Call is a Dark Aqua, and then Lantern is a Dark Pyro, which are pretty good alongside the criteria of Chaotic Elements. So basically a 3-offs because this is one of your searchers for them as well to have on your hand. Joe Call buys 1 cross out, 1 copy of LC Liberation. You just need 1 copy of this. I don't want to exceed more than 1. It's still pretty good though as a card, but I'm still leaning into 2 copies of X Forced Liberation because this card, once or after you exit summon the monster, you can destroy 1 card on your opponent control. So this is a pretty good card to search out with 1 of your monsters and then activate it during your opponent's turn. Oh, by the way, so Joe Call allows you to gain access to 1 non-Aqua K9 monster. And then Lantern allows you to access 1 K9 spell or trap card from your deck to your hand, which is kind of neat. Izuna dumps 1 K9 monster to your graveyard, which is primarily just a copy of Lupus. And Lupus is, once you attach this to as an exi material, your opponent cannot target this card with card effects, which is kind of neat. Experimental Liberation targets 1 level 5 or summons 1 K9 monster from your hand or graveyard, spell summon it to the field, and you can choose to exi summon with that specific material. So, well, you can summon only 1 K9, I guess. Yeah, spell summon 1 K9 XZ monster from your extra deck using that monster as a material. For the extra deck, we have a couple. 3 copies of Ripper. Some people are running with 2, but I do prefer running with 3 Rippers. Really good card to have, by the way. Plus, you need the first one to maybe go into your copy of Utopic Future. That's still pretty nice to have on the field. Chronomally Vina, negation for any monster effects. 2 copies of Werewolf. Really good card, by the way. While this card has materials, it can attack a number of times each battle phase up to the number of materials attached to it. So the archetype itself can go up to like 3 to 5 materials in 1 monster. but it really depends on how you play the game out. Max that I've managed to put in one monster is just 3, I guess, so it can attack 3 times with the whopping 3,300 attack is kind of scary. And then if you summon this during your turn, you can banish 1 card from your opponent's hand or graveyard. And then if it's your opponent's turn, look at your opponent's hand and banish 1 card face up until the end phase, which is kind of neat as well if they're trying to search out 1 other card. Another, or the last K9 monster is the Hound, which is typically cannot be destroyed by battle or your opponent's card effects. So every time your opponent activates a monster effect, this gains a 500 attack. Plus, during the standby phase, you can detach one material from this card, then target 1 card on the field to banish. Pretty good card. Now for the other non-K9 XZ monsters, we have Zeus. We can also run with Typhon, but I do prefer not. 1 Divisor King from a copy of Marksman King Tell. Another good card as well. A Divisor King can absorb 1 monster as well, but cannot negate. Our target for our 7th Tachyon is number C104. It's pretty nice, and then you can go into a copy of your Jokol or a copy of your Lantern, which is pretty good. What else? Pair a Dice Smasher is a funny card to have. But yeah, there's one instances that you can actually get a result of 7. But that's just basically chance at this point. But anyways, very fun card to have. And lastly, Imperial Princess Quinquerry, which is detach 1 material. Then spell summon to either field a level 5 monster from your graveyard. And oh yeah, lastly, the 2 Utopic monsters, Utopic Future and Draco Future. That's it. So, enough about the card by card. Let's go into the replays. Here are the replays for this deck. I had a lot of fun with this deck and I can't wait for this to be in Master Duel. Anyways, that's it for today, guys. Keep safe, good luck. If you like this kind of content, like and subscribe. Here are the replays and enjoy K9. Bye-bye.